Jonathan Haidt, The Coddling of the American Mind, How Good Intentions and Bad Ideas Are Setting Up a Generation for Failure. The Coddling of the American Mind by Jonathan Haidt delves into the dangers of a cultural shift towards excessive safetyism in American college campuses. The book focuses on the argument that overprotection is harmful to young people, as it deprives them of the necessary exposure to challenges, and thus, weakens their ability to cope with the real world. Haidt also highlights the impact of worst-case assumption about other people's intentions, and the rising campus politics that encourages tribalism. The book is a cautionary exploration of the potential consequences of this societal shift, while offering insights and solutions to raise strong, resilient individuals.
Facing challenges to build resilience. The rise of the safetyism culture in American colleges is limiting young people's ability to develop resilience. By shielding children from peanuts, many kids' immune systems never learned how to deal with them in a healthy way, leading to serious allergies. Similarly, this phenomenon is applicable when challenging ideas and feelings of discomfort are eliminated in classrooms. This novel and expanded meaning of safety can silence dissenting students and speakers. Overprotection can be more harmful than allowing young people to face challenges and risks. It is only by encountering adversity that individuals begin to develop real strength and resilience. The negative effects of assuming the worst. The article highlights how assuming the worst about others can lead to tensions on college campuses and in life. It explains how cognitive distortions make the world appear more hostile than it is and how assuming negative intentions can lead to misunderstanding and conflict. The concept of microaggressions is used as an example of this phenomenon. The article argues that assuming the best in people can lead to more positive interactions and a better understanding of each other. Campus politics and harmful tribal thinking. The human tendency to think in terms of tribes is exacerbated by campus politics. While humans have the ability to move past their tribal instincts, some forms of identity politics on campuses today encourage divisive, common enemy thinking. This can lead to tribal loyalties, inflamed conflict, and harmful attitudes towards those who are different from ourselves. The authors caution against this way of thinking and remind readers of the need for nuance and empathy in our interactions with others. The human mind is primed to think in terms of tribes. This tendency to favor fellow tribe members and target outsiders who differ from us is a result of our evolutionary history. Although humans can dial down intergroup conflict, campus politics often encourages harmful tribal thinking. While some forms of identity politics are harmless, not all are equal. The authors warn against common enemy identity politics, which encourages students to view themselves as tribe members locked in bitter conflict with a common oppressor. This approach is far more concerned with locating and denigrating enemies than it is with emphasizing our shared humanity. While the popular concept of intersectionality can offer an interesting way of looking at discrimination, certain interpretations can lead to harmful tribal loyalties. By depicting privileged groups as oppressors and others as virtuous victims, this sort of teaching can further exacerbate our tribal instincts. Ultimately, our ability to live peacefully alongside those who are different depends on our recognition that black and white thinking is often inaccurate. We must strive for nuance, empathy, and respect for diversity in our interactions with others. The escalation of campus tensions. In recent years, campus politics in the U.S. has taken a troubling turn towards violence. The reinterpretation of violence to include unsympathetic speech has allowed for justifying rioting and attacking political opponents as self-defense, as seen in the Milo Yiannopoulos incident at UC Berkeley. Even distinguished professors like Amy Wax and Larry Alexander faced backlash and accusations of white supremacy for expressing their opinions. This drastic shift in the atmosphere on college campuses calls into question the value of free speech and intellectual diversity in higher education. Increasing adversity in U.S. politics. U.S. politics is getting more adversarial with Democrats and Republicans having little in common. Americans are more motivated by hostility towards the other party than by commitment to their own. Politics has become less about people pursuing their own ideals and more about fanning the flames of mutual resentment. The fall of the USSR and social media contributed to this sharp increase in political animosity. If you think politics is making you angrier than ever before, you are not alone. Every day, we are bombarded with news that makes it easier to give in to the cycle of outrage and mutual accusation. This environment has led to an increase in political conflict, which can be seen in the protests and riots that frequently occur on campus. However, this is not just a gut feeling. Independent research has revealed that U.S. politics is becoming more and more adversarial. Republicans and Democrats have increasingly little in common, according to the annual surveys conducted by the Pew Research Center. In under 15 years, the percentage point difference between the beliefs of Republicans and Democrats increased by 110%, from 17 to 36. Recent research shows that Americans are now more motivated by hostility towards the other party than by commitment to their own. Politics has become less about people pursuing their own ideals and more about fanning the flames of mutual resentment. The fall of the USSR is one reason for this sharp increase in political animosity. The US lost a common enemy and began to focus on disagreements within the country. Additionally, the dawn of the digital age has transformed the way Americans consume media and discover news. Social networks like Facebook and Twitter allow us to isolate ourselves from those who disagree with us, making it more difficult to discover common ground. In conclusion, this summary demonstrates that U.S. politics is becoming increasingly adversarial. Americans are more divided than ever, and politics has become less about pursuing personal ideals and more about fanning the flames of mutual resentment. University life under siege. Bureaucratic expansion hinders student welfare. As universities expand their bureaucracies, the notion of safetyism has taken hold. At Northern Michigan University, administrators warn students not to discuss their feelings with friends, highlighting the dangers of mentioning suicidal or self-destructive thoughts to others. The prioritization of well-being is so absurd that it overregulates student life, stifling it in the process. Bureaucrats are more concerned about shielding students and their institutions against legal liability than promoting their welfare. Codes defining what can and can't be said on U.S. campuses are puzzlingly vague, and even laudable goals such as wanting to avoid offending people can often prove detrimental to student welfare. This prevents young people from learning the art of conflict resolution and equipping them in dealing with life's challenges. Ultimately, the expansion of university bureaucracies leaves young people more vulnerable. Teaching young people better habits. American universities no longer guarantee the freedom of conscience that was their hallmark. However, the book offers a solution to the problems examined. By avoiding the pitfalls, young people can be taught to cope with adversity and grow from it. The key message of the book is that we can teach young people better, healthier habits. Firstly, not all risks are to be avoided, and we need to argue against the cult of safetyism. Secondly, we should teach children to deal with life's difficulties instead of trying to shield them from discomfort. Thirdly, we should be critical thinkers about our thoughts and emotions. Lastly, young people should be wary of tribal thinking that divides the world into us and them.
Haidt's The Coddling of the American Mind underscores the belief that facing challenges and risks is essential in developing strength and resilience. The book illustrates how the cultural shift to safetyism, tribal thinking, and biased assumptions about other people's intentions are damaging the overall growth of young individuals. The author argues that young people should be equipped to deal with life's adversities, rather than being protected from them. By teaching critical thinking about one's own thoughts and emotions, avoiding unnecessary tribalism, and embracing risks, we can cultivate a generation that is better prepared to handle life's challenges and complexities.